Morning, students. Students, today we would be starting our new chapter, that is kinship, caste, and class. As you know, student, from this chapter only, it signifies that what we are going to actually deal in this chapter with. Okay, like what does kinship means? Kinship, everyone know, kin are the relatives. Okay, and caste, we all know, and class also. Okay, now see, students, one phase is there. Kinship knows no kingship knows no kinship. It is by Aurangzeb. So what does it signify? That the king, he has to see each and every one of us, or each and every one of the people in his territory with the one eye only. Okay, everyone is equal in front of his eyes. Either his own kinship, means his relatives, his brother, sister, or anyone blood relations, or the other members under the territories. Okay, hope so the kinship term is clear to you all. That kinship is what, the brothers, blood relations, you can say. Okay, now in this chapter we would be dealing the period around 600 BCE to 600 BC, as we were dealing in the previous chapter. So in previous chapter, as we know that in around 600 BC to 600 BC, what were the important changes that took place? Like iron was invented. Okay, many tools were made from iron, and those tools were used to do agriculture, and due to which what happened? Agriculture flourished. When agriculture will flourish, what will happen then? The next step, the production would be more, and the production would be result more, then it result into the what, surplus stock would be there. And if the stock would be in surplus amount, now the king, they will be actually giving, paying them in form of salary. Okay, army would be maintained. Okay, and so to manage all these things, bureaucracy is actually taking birth. Okay, new palaces have been made, new forts have been made, and to sustain these craft section was also made. Okay, different state actors are there, like weavers, carpenter, ironsmith, leather weaver, then teachers, which are actually brahmins, merchants, traders, and of course the king also. Okay, now what, as we see, the society changes. Earlier they were, we do not see these craft sections, like weavers and all, but later on these craft sections has been seen. So society has been increasing, and society is increasing due to what? Due to economic reasons. Okay, because now everything we are having in surplus amount, and they are being paid for that. Okay, to understand all these, all these concepts, that how they were paid, how the what type of rituals at that time they were having, what rights they were having. Okay, who was dominating, what were the norms, what were the rules, each and everything we'll discuss. And by what we are aware of, each rules and regulations, everything, we are aware of by what? By the Mahabharata. Because in Mahabharata, it is a story, we all know, it is a story of Kauravas and Pandavas. Okay, so through this Mahabharata, we get to know about the social behavior at that time actually. Okay, so it is a very unique text, but the exact date we do not know, an exact writer also, because it is said that Vyas has written, but exactly we do not know, because it has not been written at one point of time. At different period, different rishis have written. Because earlier, see, students, what happened? Mahabharata actually, uh, just earlier, what was happening? Earlier, written text was not there. Okay, written anything was not there. So everything was the oral history was there. You can say orally people used to, tell stories or tell anything, and orally only they used to tell their secrets also, so that it can be transferred to one generation to other generation. So at that time, what was happening, in the ruler, when he was going somewhere, you can say for the for hunting or for war, he is having one person which is very common, the charioteer. Okay, and that charioteer, actually it is known as Suta. Okay, he noticed each and every activity of the king, and he used to tell those activities when he was actually, when he came to the town or to the place. Okay, then he used to tell those activities or these stories of the king to the other person. Okay, due to which they consider king as a very brave and a, very humble. Everything that what actually king was doing was known by the charioteer. So the whole path he was only with him. Okay, so people, later on what happened, people started adding their ideas, their, their norms with the story. Okay, all these are actually written in Mahabharata itself. So you can just say that Mahabharata is a story which is no doubt, it has been written around, actual war has been around 950 BCE, but it is a oral story. Later on, the oral tradition was removed, and written tradition had occurred. But in the meanwhile, the from the time of oral to written, many things were added by the people. Because now also, if you see, one thing to a person, and that person if conveys something to someone else, obviously certain points have been added or missed. Okay, it is not that the exact what you have told to the other person was conveyed to the other. So this happens whenever there is, oral traditions are there, something or other thing are being added. Okay, so Mahabharata, a colossal epic to understand the social behavior of early historic period. Now historians often use textual traditions to understand social history. Some text lays down norms of social behavior, other describe a wide range of social situations and practices. Okay, some texts they used to tell about the norms of the okay, social behavior means about the rules. Some text tells about the situation at that time and about the practices which they were having. Okay, texts like Mahabharata allow us to understand the practices that shaped social histories. Now according to, the text like Mahabharata, what does it allow us to understand? The practices that shape social histories. Okay, now in focusing on Mahabharata, a colossal epic, running in its present form into over 100,000 verses with depictions of a wide range of social categories and situations. Okay, so earlier if you see that, there are actually very because nowadays the Mahabharata which we are reading, it is very different from the earlier Mahabharata. Okay, why so? Because people they have added their versions in it. The things which are actually not suited to their society are actually molded, and other things have been put forward on it. Okay, so they have molded, but the central story remains the same. So it is one of the richest texts of the subcontinent. It was composed over a period of 1000 years, and some of the stories it contains may have been in circulation even earlier. Now it is said that this is a very richest text, and it is composed in the period of 1000. But earlier also they were having these types of stories with them. Okay, now, the central story is about the two sets of warring cousins, but the text also contains sections laying down the norms of social behavior. Occasionally, the principal character seems to follow these norms. Now, as I have told that, the central idea of the text remains the same. That is the story of the two warring cousins, Kaurava and Pandava. but other things, other things behind that, it actually changed. Why so? Because people, after reading it, they do not find certain things compatible to their society, so they try to mold those things. Okay, for instance, in Mahabharata, Pandavas has been they have been said as Indras. So why so they have been considered as Indras? Can anyone think of it? Now, see, students over here, Mahabharata, Pandavas, they have treated as Indras because Indras are actually five Indriya. Okay, because in the Vedic period, sense were activated. They were worshipping nature. Okay, so five Pandavas are referred to five Indriya. Okay, so you can so they have just molded all these things that Draupadi has married one person having five indriyas. Okay, it has been justified by Vyas, because society, it might be that the society, after, when the Vyas has written, it might be that society was not accepting polygamy. Okay, and when the period when the Mahabharata was written, society polygamy was practiced. Okay, one woman was married to many men, but nowadays it is not accepted. Okay, so these are the things basically we'll deal in this chapter. Then, if we say that it took many times, a huge time, around 47 years, to compile this text, because Sothankar, he is an historian. He, with other historians, he actually took 47 years to compile Mahabharata. Okay, because what he did, he took all the Sanskrit, all the text which was written in Sanskrit, and different scripts were collected, and they were compared, and everything, wherever they were actually finding that common hymens are there, they compiled it. Okay, that we'll do in the next topic. So basically, what we have learned today, that around 600 BCE, uh, due to the changes like iron and agriculture, surplus agriculture. Now the economic prosperity was there, and due to which society changes, and those society changes we are now understanding. Mahabharata is actually helping us to understand those society changes. Okay, so that is why Mahabharata, we can consider that is a very dynamic book, and we cannot say it's a mythological book actually. Okay, now then what we have read, that Mahabharata, it is a closer epic to understand the social behavior of early historic period, because there are many types of text, and by that we can get to know about the history, about the social practices, about the norms of the social behavior. Okay, then we studied that in Mahabharata we have around 100,000 verses have been depicted, and it is one of the richest texts of the subcontinent, and it is composed in 1,000 years, and some stories were earlier also, but the central story would be the same, that is the warning of the cousins, two cousins named Pandavas and Kauravas. Okay, students, hope so it is clear to you all. Now we have an assignment, why Mahabharata is the dynamic book. Second, name any two things regarding the society which you get to know from Mahabharata. Now the third question, what is the central story of the Mahabharata? Okay, students, thank you. Have a nice day.